Welcome to Falcon Blues TV for the Crystal Palace preview. FA Cup third round tomorrow at Selhurst Park. Live on ITV4. Just what we need. Just going off Dyche's press conference from today. Really good, actually, because it was explaining who's back in training, who's available, and his attitude and his outlook on the FA Cup. Really good to see that Decore is now back in training. We vitally missed him, really have missed him, and Ashley Young's due back in training as well. Dele Alli, long-term casualty, probably won't even see him in an Everton shirt ever again, I don't think, but that's a question for another day. But it's whether or not Dyche brings in wholesale changes tomorrow, or whether he thinks, is he going to go for it? Are we just going to throw all our eggs in the FA Cup basket? It'd be good. It'd be really good for us to see us win the FA Cup or win something. Just once, please, Everton. That's all I ask. But it's whether or not he brings in, does he take out the trio of defenders that he had in against Wolves the other day and just play as a 2 and play with a flat back 4? Does he, continue with the 5 that he had and bring in Michael Keane, or does he, ship him out and bring in Ben Godfrey? Does he, stick with Ashley? Does he bring in Ashley Young for Mikalenko? Does he bring him in for Patterson on the right? There's a lot of questions about whether or not he favours this cup, whether he thinks it's a priority for Everton. For me, it's always a priority. A cup game is always a priority for me. And yeah, I think going to Selhurst Park and playing Crystal Palace, we saw what it was like in the previous fixture. It wasn't an easy game. They ran us ragged after we scored early on with Mikalenko scoring. They just press and they were quick. They were, yes, it was 3-2, and I think we were lucky to probably come away with all 3 points, but we did eventually, and I'd like to think that we can do something similar. We just got to see whether we've got the legs for it. McNeil, Garner, Onana, Harrison, Beto, DCL, Tarkovsky, these are all players who have played constantly throughout not just the Christmas period, but since the start of the season. And I know we've got a 10-day break coming up after it. So it's whether or not, does he favour it? Does he want to go for it? Does he think that it's a necessary part of the rest of the season, given the points deduction and everything else? But that's a question for you. What do you think? Would you make full changes for tomorrow? Would you bring Decore in? Would you make him available if he's there, play him, or do you rest him and give him the next break until we're ready for the next home game, next league game? Sorry. Personally, I wouldn't risk it, but I also think that an FA Cup run and an FA Cup would, it's everything to this club. We need something, and I probably sound like I'm crying it in. I probably am. Makes a change, but we need something. We're desperate. Fans are desperate for something. We've been kicked up and down the road over the last years and years of being kicked up and down the road, and now, we were dreadfully unlucky against Fulham in the League Cup, and now they're going on to a League Cup semi-final, and it's hard when you see teams doing that, and you realise how close we were, and hopefully that's something that sticks in the minds of the team, that we were that close of getting closer and closer to being in a cup final, that could have been our opportunity in the League Cup. So maybe try and look at, maybe the FA Cup is another avenue that we need to look through, because we're not going to get, a higher spot than, mid-table. If we're lucky, we need to keep pushing for points. So maybe, this cup, because the team is doing better than the table shows. The points are there. We know these deductions. We don't have the deduction. We're halfway up the table. Probably sitting in 7th or 8th place at the time. But so a cup tie, and a cup run, a cup win, everything. The players should have that in the back of their mind, that there's an opportunity there to still win something. But let me know your thoughts as well. I know it's a big game. It's a Thursday night, and I feel sorry for the fans who have to travel all the way down there and get out to Selhurst Park as well. So don't suspect they'll be coming home till like 3 in the morning, as you would do from a London game anyway. But I just think getting out of Selhurst Park is an absolute nightmare at the best of times. So a Thursday night isn't going to be pretty. And my thoughts go out to you. But Paul and I will do a match reaction to this after the game. Hopefully by then we're booking our place in the fourth round and we're not looking at penalties and replays and everything else. But let us know your thoughts. I'm sure everyone will be happy with Doucouré coming back. He also touched on with losing Doucouré, I think it was Julia Bowles in the press conference asked him, like, well, how do you replicate and how do you replace, or how do you sort of bring in someone of Doucouré's talent, as work ethic, as busyness? It's difficult to do that when you haven't got the players in there that can do it. So it will be tough, and I think even losing Ghana Gay to the African Cup of Nations is going to be tough as well. So it's more a case of like, well, who do you bring in? What's the option? What's the alternative? What can you bring in on when you haven't got two pennies to rub together? Also, do you think we need to make would you make full changes tomorrow? And given that we've got a 10-day break after this, I go back to what I was saying there about them being tired and stuff like that, and then the stuff that come out earlier in the week about Dwight McNeil, and fair play to the lad, he's stuck at it, he's kept going, and he's got a lot of problems going on with his partner at home. Hopefully she's on the way to a speedy recovery, and Dwight can continue to do what he's got to do at home, but also be able to perform for Everton. And for that, Dwight, we salute you, really do, mate. You've put in the effort, and it must be tough going through what you're doing. So prediction, I want to win. I want to be in the next round. I want to be in the draw for the fourth round. I don't really, I think we've got enough in this team. We probably need a couple of additions. And I know one of them was the wild rumour about Jesse Lingard. Jesus Christ, I don't even know where that one come from. But let me know what you think. Who do we need to bring in? Obviously a centre back, maybe a winger is another priority for Everton. But with the way Thelwell was saying, there's probably nothing there for us at the moment, and it's probably going to be a very quiet January. So please don't get too excited about rumours and what you're hearing and stuff like that, because we need to keep drilling that into ourselves. It's not going to be an exciting month for Evertonians. Probably more out than in, I would imagine. And if players come out, I think that's the only way that they're going to, or someone else is going to be coming in. So I don't know. I'll go. Freaking hell, I don't even want to give a scoreline because it's too much to predict. I think with Elise being out gives us a chance there, but I'll go for a Toffees win. Naturally want to go for the Toffees win. 2-1. And that's it. I'm not giving goal scorers, but I'm going to go for the 2-1 win. So let me know your thoughts. Give us your thoughts and your predictions on the score tomorrow. Paul and I will be back for the match reaction tomorrow evening. Till then, up the fucking Toffees, Colin Chong. See you in a bit.